Alright guys, so I'm finally getting around to a little update video on these Copperlocks, the large Copperlock. I think the last time I did a video I had like 3, and so as you can see I've added to the collection pretty substantially since then. I'm gonna run through these kind of fast because once you've seen one, you've seen, kind of seen them all other than the colors and blade shapes and everything. I guess as most of you know, you can get the Copperlock in a regular clip point or a Wharncliffe, and I'll be the first to admit that the Wharncliffe may not be the most practical blade for EDC, but dang if it isn't good looking. I mean, it is pretty dang sharp looking. A lot of people don't like it that it doesn't have any belly because they say it's not the greatest for slicing, and I understand that, but it's probably one of the best looking blades on a knife, a Wharncliffe style, that I've seen. So I'll see if I can leave these blades out for just a second. That one was the burnt indigo, but like I said in the last video, that particular knife just came out more or less blue, and I think it's kind of cool that way, but it doesn't have a lot of the burnt part of the bone color, but it's just kind of a nice royal blue. This one here was kind of like a bucket list knife. I won't call it a grail, but it's definitely a bucket list knife. I searched and searched and searched for these. I've only seen a handful for sale, period, and the ones I've seen were pretty expensive, a little bit out of my price range, but I finally found this one, and I think this is the most I've spent on a knife was this one right here. I give $90 for it on eBay, and but like I said, it was about the best price I had seen on one, so I just went ahead and pulled the trigger. I think I got this one for my birthday one year, but really like the color, the different tones of purple there. But this one's called Purple Haze, and it's also in the Wharncliffe, and you can see right there the Wharncliffe blades, as if you couldn't tell by the shape, they do have the W in the number. Then I've got this one here. I'm not a case Collectors Club Life member. I'd like to be, but I just never have set that up. But I found this one on eBay, like most of my knives. I need to give that one a little bit of a cleaning, polishing. But this is a serialized knife. I got a pretty good deal on this one. I think I give like $75, but at the time I was kind of on the Wharncliffe blade kick, and this was one of the ones I found on eBay, and I thought the handles looked really good. Just like with all case knives, the handles, they vary a lot, but this one here's just got some really cool definition of the color, and it's not really wanting to focus too good, but I really like the way the color fades in and out, especially on the edges of the covers. It's got that Case Collectors Club shield. Down here it says Life. That was a Life member deal. So yeah, I'm not a Collectors Club member, but I thought that was a cool knife, and I picked that one up for like $75. So that's my 3 Wharncliffes. I guess I'll go ahead and start with this one here. There's a funny story to this one. I almost got in trouble with eBay over this knife. I found this knife. I really like the color. This is like an autumn jig bone. And I went to the description on eBay again. I went to the description and the seller and everything, and checked out the seller like I always do. And I realized that the guy that had this knife literally lived in my hometown, or at least the town I work in. And so at the time I was still pretty new to buying off eBay, and I didn't think anything of it when I messaged the guy and said, hey, we're really close, why don't we just meet up and do this deal in person? And the guy said, hey, yeah, that's fine. He knew where I worked and where I was located and everything, so we met up, made this deal, and then And then I guess some keywords in the in our messages, like, you know, hey, will you meet me somewhere or whatever. And eBay picked up on that and told me, hey, you can't do that. That violates our policy. And I was like, oh gosh, I never thought about it. But anyway, I did. I bought this one off eBay. Technically I didn't, but I found it on eBay, and it turned out the guy lives close, and I wound up buying it in person. And he threw in some kind of little dinky little knife to go along with it, because it was already part of his sale on eBay. And he said, well, here's this other one if you want it. And I said, oh yeah, sure, I'll give it to my son or something. So I guess that's where that one went. But anyway, so there's that one. This is the knife that started it all. I probably mentioned this in my other video too, because this was one of the, well, this was the first knife, not my first case, but it was the first case knife when I started collecting. I was actually on Amazon looking at pocket knives, and I had found a Rough Rider, and everybody knows about the Rough Rider versus case thing, you know, but I didn't know anything about Rough Rider. I just saw a pocket knife I thought looked kind of neat, and I was showing my wife. I said, hey, I think I'm gonna buy this pocket knife. You know, I haven't bought a pocket knife in a while. And my wife, being the intuitive one that she is, she noticed that the knife was made in China, the Rough Rider. Boy, guys, I'm slacking. I am gonna have to give these things a good polish. Most of these have just sat in my gun cabinet, and I have let some tarnish build up. This video was kind of a spur of the moment thing. Otherwise, I would have had these cleaned up for y'all. But anyway, this knife here, well, back to the story. She said, you don't want that Chinese made knife. Why don't you get a case knife if you want a pocket knife? And I was like, oh, well, you know, I don't really want to spend a lot on one. I just kind of got an itch to buy a new knife. And she said, well, at least look and see what you can get a case knife for. So I went to eBay, and I found this Copperlock. This is let's see, this is the Harvest Orange. Yeah, Harvest Orange. And I found this knife for 40 bucks, which I didn't realize at the time what a screaming hot deal that was, because I think I've got one more Copperlock that I give $40 for, but the rest of them have been closer to, you know, 60 or 70, because that's just what they go for. But anyway, this is the one that started it all. I bought this knife, carried it a little while, and next thing I know, I was on Instagram and showing pictures and talking about knives with guys, and next thing you know, I had the bug and I was buying other ones. So anyway, the Copperlock quickly became a favorite of mine. I like the locking blade. I like the traditional look and feel of the knife, especially with the bone handle. And they're slim, but they have a good size blade, so they're just a great size knife. And everybody that I see that doesn't know what a Copperlock is, sorry about that, I show them what a Copperlock is, and I encourage them to buy one. So this one here is probably just as much of a grail knife or a bucket list knife as the Purple Haze was. Case did this line, I guess I'll call them skin line. Basically, this one is lizard skin, and I just love this burnt green. You can see the burn is not terribly aggressive, but it looks good. Gets a little bit dark right there on that corner. All these knives are put together pretty well. I'm fully aware that Case has some quality control issues, but most of these I either bought in person, or I was able to get them on eBay, and I was able to look at the pictures and make sure that everything looked good before I paid for it. So anyway, but this was the lizard skin. They have a yellow one called a snake skin, and they have one that's kind of a light colored orange, and they call that pig skin. And I'd like to get them all one day. I really want the snake skin and the pig skin to go along with this one. But I believe this one is a 1998, maybe a 99, I can't remember, and I'm not going to really look at it real close right now. But It's got that little bit of an older style shield with the case XX written out like that. And so yeah, it's got a pretty deep jig on it. Got a little more texture than some of the other ones do. This one here is I think they call this Tequila Sunrise, or some people call it Orange Peel. But I got this one at a pretty good price. I think I wound up giving like $63, $64 for it. I like this one because of the arrowhead shield. A couple of these other ones have that too. I really like the look of that arrowhead shield. And the orange, it's a little bright. I mean, it's so bright that it almost looks like a synthetic handle. But you can tell it's got the different shades, so it's definitely a bone handle knife. I'm not real big on synthetic. I just like the natural materials. But yeah, this one here's got great action. Blade looks good. Once again, it's a little dirty because I do carry these. You know, sometimes I wake up and I'm just in the mood to carry a Copperlock, and so I'll put one in the pocket and carry it. But there's that one. I call it Orange Peel or Tequila Sunrise or whatever. And so anyway, here's this other one that I got. I got this one at the flea market, and the guy only wanted $40 for it, and I was kind of surprised. But this is, I think I call this Hunter Green Saw Cut. But yeah, this is another great looking color. Really love how it turns from a really dark, almost blue color to that lighter green. Once again, it's got the lighter color on the edges. Just a really attractive handle. Big clip point blade. And he wanted $40 for this. When I asked him how much he wanted, he said, "Oh, I'll take $40." I was kind of like, dang. Because that's about half price of what these are on eBay a lot of times. And this was a great looking knife. I've sharpened it because I sharpen all of them. I don't care a bit at all about that never been sharpened crap. I use these knives and I want them to be sharp. And they come from the factory with that toothy edge. And I don't like that, so I sharpen them up. But when I got this, it had that factory edge. And maybe it still does a little bit. I probably hadn't got it all sharpened out yet. But anyway, there's my last one. The Hunter Green, and it's not focusing great, but I will close these up and give y'all one last look at them. There's that one. Orange Peel. Lizard Skin. Harvest Orange. Autumn Harvest, or I think that's what it's called. Burnt Indigo Warncliffe blade. Purple Haze, also with the Warncliffe. This is Crimson Bone. I may not have mentioned that before, but this is Crimson Bone. This was a Case Collectors Club Life member exclusive knife, serialized L9149. And there you have it. That's my Case Copperlock collection. Thanks, guys.